Hello everybody, I'm finally catching up with some of my Marvel Legends reviews, and in today's video I'm going to be taking a look at the new She-Hulk release, which is the Fantastic Four costume variant. Now, it wasn't that long ago, in fact I think it was around about this time last year, where we got our first comic book accurate classic She-Hulk. This was really exciting for me at the time. This came as part of an Iron Man Wave retro card, which was really cool, and now we have an updated version with some new bits and pieces and backed on another retro card, this time from the Fantastic Four series, again still modelled on the Toy Biz line of the 1990s. And we've had quite a few of these figures on this retro card in the past, but I absolutely love it. This is incredibly nostalgic to me. I think it's very colourful, it's very displayable, it hangs on the wall beautifully, and it really shows off the figure as well. There's not a lot to dislike about this. My only ever criticism has been is that the foil around the four there isn't foil, it's just matte, and obviously originally in the Toy Biz years this was holographic, which was really fun. So it's a shame that that hasn't been replicated, but otherwise this is very faithful to the design and layout and look of what we used to get, and that takes me back to my childhood, which is no bad thing. And if we flip it over to look at the reverse of the packaging, we see an enlarged image of She-Hulk there, a little bit of bio, and some information about the various accessories that can be swapped in or out, which is pretty fun. But again, very displayable, very colourful, and very fun. Now, by and large, the figure itself is a straight re-release of the same figure we got this time last year. The only things that differ this time around are really the paint apps when it comes to the costume. So rather than being purple and white, we now have the blue and white, and of course, that Fantastic Four logo. The head sculpt hasn't changed. It's a really great sculpt. I like it a lot. I think it works really well. I think the paint apps are really nicely produced as well. And we actually see some washes running through the hair there. The green highlights works tremendously well. And overall, I'm just very pleased with this. The green of the lips, the black around the eyes, the blue of the eyes themselves, all really finely painted and really nicely produced. So no criticisms here, but this is nothing really different to what we had previously. As I'd already mentioned, the only real change here are the paint apps that have been used to denote the costume. Now, sadly, this is just painted on. This is not sculpted in any way, which is a real shame because that would add a little bit more depth and texture naturally. This is clearly just painted detail, but it works. It's very serviceable. The sculpt itself is absolutely brilliant, and it works really well. She's obviously a bigger figure than others, and I will do a scale comparison towards the end of the video, but this is a really good base mold. I think this works really well for She-Hulk. And my only real criticism is that there aren't more washes running over this base mold just to draw out some of the detail and just give her a little bit more depth, I suppose. In terms of articulation, there is a ball joint at the top of the neck only. She can move her head from side to side, but not 360, and she can only really wobble it left and right. I wouldn't say it's posable. She can bend her head forward slightly, but there's nothing happening when it comes to going back because of that very big chunky hairpiece. She has ball joints in the shoulders, the arms will lift up and out, complementary bicep swivel, double pin at the elbow, so that lower arm will go all the way back to her head there, which is great. And then we have a standard pin swivel at the wrist, allowing that hand to rotate all the way around, and of course, hinge forwards and backwards. Now she has a single ball joint in the upper torso as well, allowing her to move from side to side, lean left and right, a reasonable distance. It's not huge, but it's serviceable, and she can kind of bend forwards and backwards, although really there's not a lot of give. You'd expect a lot more from this. Now, she does have ball joints in the hips, of course. Legs will kick out. There's a complementary thigh swivel there as well, and there's also one at the top of the boot cut, which is nice. The leg will kick forwards, and it will come backwards a little bit. Another double pin, this time at the knee, allowing that lower leg to kick all the way back there. And then we have the standard ankle rocket, so the foot will hinge forwards and backwards, and of course pivot from side to side. One area where this variant does excel, though, is in the arena of accessories, because she comes with an additional 2 pairs of hands, and amongst them we have gripping hands, a thumbs up hand, and a V sign hand, which is interesting, as well as an alternate head with a ponytail, which is great, and 2 barbells. This is really fun, and I love this set of accessories. This, for me, massively surpasses the previous release and is a lot more interesting. So if we take a look at this alternate head sculpt, I really like this. This feels very fresh and different, which is great and what we really need in a variant. I really like the wry smile on the lips there. I think that works really well. Very true to character, which is great. And of course, the hairstyle is just a very different look. The ponytail is a separate piece. You kind of have to plug this in. And of course, you can move it around as well and rotate it around the head so you can have different looks with it, which is good. But again, we're seeing the same level of care when it comes to the paint apps. We're seeing, the green and the black washes running through the hair, giving it sense of depth and texture, which is fantastic. We even see a bit of eyeshadow on the top of the eyes there, around the eyebrows, which is great. And this is a really, really good sculpt. I love this, and I think they've taken a lot of care over it. I'm also a huge fan of the barbells. I think this is great. I can't believe we haven't had this as an accessory before. It's so simple, but it's really effective and really shows the power and the strength of the character. And it also makes for a really interesting display, having different options here. It just makes things look a little bit different. It's atypical to what we'd see in a Marvel Legends display, I think. So this is great. I love these world-building elements. This is fantastic. We also get the thumbs up hand, which I think again is a really nice touch, very true to the character, a lot of attitude in that, and I think that look again makes for some really interesting display options, which is kind of fun. And then we get the V's hand. I'm not sure if this is a direct reference to a cover or a panel or something the character did. It doesn't immediately connect with me, and it seems like a bit of an odd choice, definitely in keeping with the attitude of the character. Maybe I'm just viewing it in the wrong way, but it does seem kind of funny to me. So finally, in terms of scale, I did say that she's slightly taller than your standard Marvel Legends figure, so of course she comes in around about 7 inches tall, I think. If we put her next to the Thing, she's actually just slightly taller than the Thing, which is interesting, but considerably shorter than the Maximum Series Hulk, so we can see a bit of scaling there, which is really nice. Okay then, so final thoughts from me. I'm happy to give this figure 4 stars. So 4 out of 5. I really, really like this figure. I really like the original release that we got this time last year, obviously in a classic purple duds. This for me is actually an uplift, an improvement over that figure, not because the figure is in any way particularly enhanced, but in terms of the accessories that we get, I think that really speaks volumes. Makes this worth the double dip, in my opinion. I love the alternate head. I love the barbells. I love what we're getting with the hands there. I think this is really fun, quite dynamic and interesting. And as I said, a bit of an uplift on the previous release. The deal breaker here will be whether you want her in this Fantastic Four costume. Obviously, she was a member of the F4 during the John Byrne run for a period in the 80s. So that may or may not resonate with you in particular. And I suppose that will determine your decision whether to pick this up or not. But if you do and you're a fan, you will love this figure. I think it's a really, really nicely made figure. It could do with a little bit more shading and a bit more of a wash running through bits and pieces to just lift it up to a 5-star. But all in all, this is really, really, really good. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please do consider giving the video a like. That kind of thing really does help the channel out, and it allows me to keep making more content. And if you're interested in seeing more content, remember to hit subscribe, as there'll be plenty more videos coming soon.